Hello, everyone. Welcome to our travel podcast. Today, we are going to be talking of this beautiful island of Spain, Ibiza. The Venga boys made it super famous with their famous song, We're going to Ibiza, we're going to have a party. And that's exactly what we know about the island, the party island of the world. I haven't been there, but Neil has recently visited Ibiza. So let's learn all about Ibiza in this podcast today. Neil, you've been to Visa. I'm so jealous, but I'm dying to hear all about it. How was it?
We went to Ibiza because we had a YPO retreat, YPO being Young Presidents Organization that Heta and I are a part of. And every year there is one retreat that they do. Last year, I think, was in Seoul. We didn't end up going that time because we weren't members. We just became members this year. This year was in Ibiza. And when they floated the idea that, okay, the retreat is going to be in Ibiza, one of the things Heta told me is that it's now or never because Ibiza is known as the party capital of the world, so let's just go because we'll probably not go otherwise, right?
Yeah.
And then the question arose that, okay, what about Raya? So you were like, okay, let's take Raya also. Let
And Raya's
Raya.
like not even 2 years old, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So,
So
wow,
we
two
were like,
years, an
okay, let's.
infant on the party island.
Exactly. So I started looking for flights, and I must say it's quite tricky to get to Ibiza from Mumbai because most of the time you need two stop flights unless you take a Lufthansa flight on certain days. So we decided to make a trip out of it. We flew into
Nice.
Madrid, Barcelona, and then came to Ibiza. So it was interesting. Let's discuss all about it because we had some fun experiences.
I'm sure. But Neil, I think let's start right from where is Ibiza?
Yeah.
Spain has so many islands. You have the Canary Islands, Tenerife, Gran Canaria, and then you have the Balearic Islands on the other side, right? Majorca, Menorca, Formentera, and Ibiza. So, where and how do you get, like you mentioned how to get there, but which side of Spain is this?
So this is, I would say, the Balearic Islands are on the southeastern side of Spain, the Mediterranean Sea. And you mentioned Mallorca. I think the best way to think of Mallorca is it's one of the largest islands amongst these four islands that you just mentioned. But that's where Rafael Nadal comes from.
Yes.
Freddie Mercury also came from Mallorca. That's the more touristy island, I would say. Then there's the Mallorca thing, which is less touristy, and then there's Ibiza, which is like the most fun island, as they call it. Now, the population of Ibiza is about, I think, what 150,000, as what my notes tell me, and the guide also told us there. But it's one of Spain's most visited islands. Every year, they say 3 million or 30 lakh people visit it annually.
Wow.
And once I kind of got there, it gave me a vibe that it is a misconception that Ibiza is just a party island. It's not just a party island because we took Raya there and we were assuming that Raya is just going to be in the room with the nanny just because, we thought we'll be partying all the time. But there's a lot for families to do also.
So Ibiza has two sides to it. Can we say it like that? That the party side that we know, but it does have a quieter, more cultural side to it, right?
Yeah, so if you look at the 3 night itinerary that we had as part of this retreat, right? We had a mix of many things. We had a treasure hunt, we had
Wow.
an ice bath experience, we had a sound healing experience, we had visiting nightclubs every night because that's how Ibiza is. And the resort that we were at also had a nice pool, a kids' play area, and all of that. So that was something great. And also, along with the nightclubs, there are day clubs in Ibiza. So you can have a fun time everywhere, I would say.
We'll talk more about all of that, of course. But when I was researching for this podcast, and I found that compared to a lot of the European capitals, Ibiza actually has more UNESCO sites than many of the European capitals, which is
That's
simply
true.
amazing because that is something we haven't heard. And I found that there were not one but four UNESCO sites, out of which one is a natural site which has, I think it's called Posidonia, Oceania, and it has the grass, which is 100,000 year old, like 1 lakh year old grass growing down there. So that is the natural part of it, but it does have three other UNESCO sites there. I'm sure you visited few of them.
I would say I didn't visit all of them. We visited the Ibiza fort, or as it's always called, Dalt
Dal.
Vila. And let me start by, I think that's a good point to start discussing Ibiza in detail, right? One of the things that we do as part of the YPO retreat is that all of the meals are amazing.
Okay.
So we ended up going to this fort, but the fort experience was not during the day, but was during the night. Okay. And how Ibiza town really is that you'll often have a lot of these hotels that are situated in a place which gives you a great view of the fort, but you can also stay near or at the fort. So one of these Michelin starred restaurants that we visited was 1872, if I'm not wrong. And the experience doesn't start when you get to the restaurant, but the experience starts at the foot of the fort. At
Okay.
the foot of the fort, the cars drop you or the vans drop you, and you have to get into these mini cars, as I would
Hmm.
say, because the fort has been built in such a way that now, of course, there are houses and restaurants and hotels out there, but the roads are quite narrow to get to the top of the fort, and there are only these special cars that can really take you there. So the restaurant's experience definitely started over there, and you got into these small cars where only three people could sit, and you drive up to this restaurant. Once you get to the restaurant, because the fort is quite small, if you really think about as compared to other forts around the world, you also have this thing where once you get in, you have to climb up 2 or 3 floors and then get to the terrace. And once you're at the terrace, you get a great view of Ibiza town at night. And we went during June, so that would be, I would say, a period before the crowds start coming in, because Ibiza can get very crowded because everyone wants to enjoy the summer on the beach and also party during the night. So that was one of the experiences that we experienced at Ibiza Fort, and that was the only UNESCO site that we visited. There was another lighthouse that we visited, but I would not call it something to speak of. That's a different experience. I'll tell you more about it. But yeah, I think
That's amazing.
that's
And for those of us who didn't go for the YPO retreat, the fort itself, Dalt Villa, is, I think it's one of the rare examples of a Renaissance military
yeah.
fortification by the Italians who were there. Neil, that brings me to, kind of the origin of Ibiza, like the first invaders who came into Ibiza or the merchants who came into Ibiza. And these were the Carthaginians and the Phoenicians. And they came in because there were salt marshes here. And that is actually the second UNESCO heritage site, right? The Sa Caleta settlement. Because salt was so precious, and they said that the salt that came from Ibiza was called white gold because it was so precious. And these people started mining salt here, and they actually named the island Ibiza after the god Bes, who's the protector of dance and music. So I think back then they set the destiny for dance and music to
And
be
it continues
continued
till today.
here, right? So did you see the salt marshes, or did you have a chance, or
So we didn't get
anything?
to, I would not say we didn't visit the salt marshes, but what we did, and I have this book over here, and it's called the Ibiza Edition
Okay.
Defender Rally. So one of the experiences that we had was going on a treasure hunt. Now, a regular treasure hunt can be around a hotel, around one place, right? But as part of this experience, we were randomly put into about 8 groups, and as the name suggests, it is called the Defender Rally. So the Range Rover Defender, the car that was used back in the day in Ibiza, which has that manual gear shift, was something that each group had. And each group had a designated driver. So my group, I was the designated driver. And before we even got to Ibiza, the coordinators had ensured that we had our international driving license, international driving permit, and we had to email it to them. They were all prepared, and the question was, can you drive a manual car? Because it's not often now that you drive a manual car, because most of the cars that we drive today are automatic, right? So using the clutch was again a good experience for me, much say after like 8 or 9 years, because back then I used to drive a Santro, which was manual, and now I was driving a Defender. So one of the experience of this or how this treasure hunt was structured was that they had 3 points in the island that you had to get to. One was the lighthouse, one was the salt flats that you mentioned, and one was another area which was like a beach. And covering those 3 points in the island ensured that you had seen everything that Ibiza had to offer. So the treasure hunt was designed in a way that we first got to the beach. We met a local there who asked us a question. We had to give an answer. We had to take a clue, run to the second place. go there, go to the lighthouse, again answer a question, and
What
then go to
fun.
the salt flats and click a photo. So that's how we witnessed the salt flats. But one of the great things that this experience kind of taught me was that often, if I had gone to Ibiza on my own, I would have visited these three places as just sightseeing places. But when you combine it into an experience, and we often do that for many of the corporate trips, it kind of gives you a flavor of the island without going to one place and thinking that, okay, I have to stay over here for another 2 hours. So yeah, that's
Yeah,
how we witnessed the salt flats.
it's great when it becomes part of a story. And you mentioned the Defender. So would you say that when people go to Ibiza, they should rent cars to go around the island? Would you recommend that?
Yes, taxis do exist, Ubers do exist. We didn't have to take an Uber, but everywhere we had chauffeur-driven vehicles. The problem with self-driven vehicles is that because it's a place where there are day beach clubs and nightclubs, wherever you go, even if you have a drink, you can't drink and drive, right?
Right.
So that's why I would say if you really wanted to enjoy Ibiza, don't rent a car for the entire duration of the holiday, but do it for one day for a few hours. And there are hotels, the concierge desk at hotels will definitely do that for you. They'll help you rent cars, they'll help you rent yachts, and do a whole lot of these things.
That's a great tip, Neil, because you want to enjoy. When you're at a party place, you want to be partying
Yeah,
out there.
exactly.
So there's no point in having a car and not being able to drive it.
Yeah.
So yeah, great idea. Rent it for a day, see all the sights, and then party. I think I would love to complete the UNESCO part of it before we move on. So the fourth point, the fourth UNESCO site is actually the necropolis, or where you have the Punic burial ground, right? I think it's called Puig de Molins Necropolis. And they had some 3,000 tombs, out of which only 340 are seen today. So that is also, I mean, it's all in ruins. But whatever I saw and whatever I've read, the view from there is amazing. So if you have the time, you have the day, you can tick off 4 UNESCO sites on one island in Ibiza, which
Definitely.
is amazing. And speaking of Ibiza, we haven't even started talking of the party as yet, and yet there has been
Yeah.
so much to see. I'm sure you experienced that as well.
Yeah, I would say that, see, of the UNESCO sites, right, we only visited one.
One.
We
Yeah.
And I would say we saw another but didn't really visit. So there's just so much to do that you have to pick and choose, and you can't really do everything because there's yeah, I just felt like we were constantly on the move. So for 3 nights we were on, I think, 3 or 4 hours of sleep every night, because you're partying till the morning and then sleeping, and then there's another experience that is planned for you.
You've been talking of partying, and you mentioned the beach clubs and nightclubs. Are these the same? Like, do the beach club in the day turn into nightclubs, or are they two different, completely different things? And like, how do you get the best of both? You want to be in a beach club by day also, and you want to experience nightlife also. So, what are these clubs all about?
So I think how our program was structured was that on the first day we had a day beach club experience. So we went to Nobu, which is famous all across the world. There's a Nobu in
Yeah.
Ibiza as well. And a day beach club is basically you lounging around the pool, enjoying some food, enjoying a few cocktails or mocktails, whatever you like, and just relaxing. You could probably read a book, you could watch a movie on the day bed and just relax. So there is Nobu that we went to, but there are many beach clubs across Ibiza that you can definitely enjoy. Now, how Ibiza works, or at least what we were told by the receptionist of the hotel that we were at, was that you spend the day at a beach club or you spend the day at the beach. You come back to the hotel, you sleep for a bit, and then you go out for dinner. Once you have had dinner, and dinner is also much later, like around 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock.
It's
Once you,
Spain,
yeah,
after
it's
all.
Spain,
Yeah.
right? Like Spain starts having snacks at 7 and dinner is at 9:30,
Yeah.
10. And then once that is done, you kind of get to a point where, okay, it's 11:30. Is it too early or is it too late for a nightclub? In Mumbai, because everything closes at 1, 11:30 would be too late for a nightclub. But if you get to the nightclub at 11:30 in Ibiza, you'll probably be the only one there. Because these nightclubs kind of start around 11:30 or midnight or 12:30, and then almost all of them tend to go on till sunrise.
Wow.
Now, did I see the sunrise any of the days? I didn't, because I didn't have the energy, but Heta definitely did, where They just spent all night at the nightclub, and then you got to the hotel and you just jumped in the pool. So that was how it was done. Did I get to see any of the famous DJs? Yes, we had one night where we saw David Guetta playing
Oh, wow.
all through the night. And when I asked the local person who was with us, he said that many of these DJs kind of test out their new tracks in Ibiza. They play at some of the biggest nightclubs in the world. There is a nightclub called Pasha, there's Ushuaia. There was a nightclub that we went to called Universe, which if you just go in and if you really see, there are just thousands and thousands of people having a party, and that's how it is. And I guess anyone watching this has heard of Ibiza and partying, right? But this was partying at a different level, and I don't think I have witnessed anything like this in a city apart from going to a music festival. So yeah, I would say that.
So would you say that you should stay very close to these clubs because
Not
it's
really.
traveling or taxis are easily?
See, Ibiza is a place which has like a few hills around. There'll be like windy roads and all of that, right? So the nightclubs are in one place, definitely, like many nightclubs in one place. You could call it the Ibiza Strip, but there are a few nightclubs in and around different parts of town. So Uber is probably the best way to get around, or there is the local taxi that you can also take.
Right. You know, Neil, they say that Ibiza sets the tone for the world, right?
Yeah.
Like even the resorts, a lot of resorts around the world, the Mediterranean style actually comes from Ibiza, from the Casa Paesa, the white homes, that
Yeah.
the Phoenicians had built, and that kind of structure got replicated everywhere. And I've heard that even the DJs try the music out first in Ibiza and then it
Yeah,
goes
that's what I
out.
said, right? Like the
Yeah.
music gets tried first there, or
Yeah.
they like to experiment with a lot of music over there. So David Guetta, who I mentioned, his kids also go to school out there. He lives there, and they really find that when you're exposing your music to so many people every single night or every alternate night, you kind of get actual data on what people like, what people don't like.
So it's like sleep by day and party all night. So it is really
Yeah.
true, like the song's lyrics say, right? So
Yeah, and
yeah.
that's one side of Ibiza, I would say.
So let's talk of the other side now. You know, along with that, I think there's a lot of water sports and
Yeah.
beach activities that you probably really enjoy because it is an island after
Yeah.
all. So what did you do?
So you remember when we had gone to Bali, we had rented a boat
Yes.
and we went to Gili Air, right?
Right.
That was a 3 hour
Yeah.
boat ride, one way. So as part of this experience, and again, I often say that this retreat was a larger than life experience. Instead of a boat, it was a yacht, and it was a massive yacht where there was food all along, and we sailed for an hour on this great yacht where there's great music, great food, and you're having a fun time. And suddenly you get to a bay area where the yacht stops. You can jump into the water, plus there are these water toys, as they call them, right? There's jet skis, there are those slides that are inflated in the water. You can just slide on them. You can use these water scooters which kind of have this engine that you press a button and it takes you like a jet ski, but you go underwater, check different things out like snorkeling, but you can go in underwater for about 10 seconds, 15 seconds, come back up. So those are also the fun things that you can do. So when it comes to water sports, there are the beach activities that you definitely can do on the different beaches of Ibiza. And if you go in the month of June, I would say you will be lucky to get a day bed. But suddenly when you hit July and August, as you know, when
Yeah.
summer really hits Europe, it gets hot, it gets very crowded, and yeah, like be ready to pay out of your pocket also, then I would say.
Yeah. So Neil, I think from what I'm hearing from you, I'm kind of getting convinced that Ibiza could work as a family destination too, like for a family holiday. Would you say so?
It could, but you have to be mindful that Ibiza is also one of the most expensive places to go to in Spain, right? And I'm not saying that to deter anyone listening to this podcast or anything like that. But if you go during high tourist season, it can become very expensive. So if you think that, okay, I'll get a cheap hotel and then I will not spend a lot when I get there, that may not be the case, because you'll be spending a lot more. Because see, it's an island, right? Everything on the island comes from the mainland, and apart from just the seafood, everything literally is coming from the mainland. So that is why even a cappuccino is going to be more expensive than how much it would be in Madrid or Barcelona. So that's one. If you're going with your family, then be mindful that you will have to take turns going to party, whereas someone else is with the kids, right? So you can definitely be mindful of that. And if you're again going with family, there are many amazing restaurants and cocktail bars in Ibiza. So remember to book them, because if you don't book them, you will probably not get a spot. See, it's Spain, and in Spain, wherever you want to go, it is better to make a reservation. And now it's just easier with the internet. You can find out the best places to eat at, avoid many of the tourist traps that might be present, and then have some very, very good meals. And the good meals need not always be Michelin star meals,
Right.
as I would say.
We've mentioned about nightlife, Neil. We've spoken about the day clubs. We've spoken of water sports, and you just mentioned food, one of our favorite topics. You've been to Spain before, and we've spoken about the different food that we've had there, which is famous everywhere, and things that you like as well.
Yeah.
So, what would you recommend that one should try in Ibiza?
See, the easy answer is seafood, right? But I would say again, I've spent time in San Sebastian, I've gone to Bilbao, now I've been to Madrid, I've gone to Barcelona. And if you really think about food in general, right, the Spanish know how to do it, I think.
Yeah.
Because you get, like, the tapas culture is called the pinchos culture in the north of Spain. Here it may be called something else, but it's you being able to order many dishes, and those many dishes give you a flavor of different things that you can do.
And tapas are small plates.
Yeah,
right?
exactly, right? So the meats are something that people really rave about. So the ham, the chicken is something that people would have. I don't have beef, so I didn't get a chance to try that. There is the seafood. Now, when it comes to the seafood, there is the shellfish and there is regular fish, right? You get to try different things. But here, you can also try mussels, you can also try clams, and they are something that are considered delicacies over here. Then there is the paella. The paella is the rice dish that we often like to talk about. The Spanish omelette, as we see on many menus now in Mumbai also, the Spanish omelette also has different variations, whether you have it in Barcelona or whether you have it in Ibiza. And given that Heta is vegetarian, she doesn't get anything to eat in most of these places, because Spain is quite non-vegetarian heavy. So some things that Heta would continuously order are the patatas bravas, the shishito peppers that uh, exist, and probably the omelette. So those are things that we continuously kept on trying. But one of the good things about this experience or this trip was that we had different types of experiences. So one of the meals was a regular meal at the hotel, but the second meal that we had the next day during this uh, treasure hunt was a farm to table experience, where we went to this one hotel and they had their own farm, and only things that grew in that farm were the ingredients on your table. So the bread was made there, the seafood was also the catch of the day, and nothing else. So you have these varied experiences. You just have to be adventurous enough to try each of them.
Right, you mentioned farm to table. It reminded me again of our Bali trip, because I think some of the best food we had was there.
Yeah.
And good food, I think, in a way leads to wellness.
Yeah.
And Ibiza is also slowly growing into this place which is known for wellness holidays as well.
Yeah.
Did you get a chance to experience something or see things there that?
So I would say we had three experiences that were related to wellness. One was a yoga session. Now, my point is that because we are from India, we have been exposed to yoga much more. So I found it very light, that yoga session, because it's something that they have adopted only recently, and we have seen that, like, as we grow up. So that was one. The second one was an ice bath experience. So the ice bath is a great cure for a hangover also. So that was an experience that was quite fun. And the third one was sound healing. So you're just kind of resting, but through the use of sound, you're allowing your body to kind of re-energize itself and get prepared for the day. So every single day there was something related to wellness. And having experienced that, I would definitely say that it is getting to a point where the spa experience or the wellness experience is something that you could have. So you could do a full trip in Spain and then do like a spa getaway in Ibiza, definitely.
Sure. Neil, you mentioned sunrise and that you never really got there because you didn't have the energy. But Ibiza is, and every island, and I think on that in that sense, Ibiza even more so is famous for its sunsets. So, did you enjoy some beautiful sunset somewhere,
I
or would
would
you
say
recommend what to do for a
I
sunset?
would say the night or the evening when we went to the restaurant 1872 at the fort was the only evening we got to really experience the sunset. But yeah, like I don't think we really gave ourselves the opportunity of enjoying the sunset as much. But having said that, the day when we were on the yacht, after we had enjoyed the water activities and all of the toys that you have as water sports, that evening, of course, we were super tired, but when we were just sailing back to the marina, was a nice sunset experience that we
So it
experienced.
makes me think it might be a great idea for a couple's holiday or a honeymoon or something to add it on to your Spain trip, right?
I think Ibiza would be the perfect honeymoon destination only because of that one rule that I have, where
Mm-hmm.
anyone who asks me, Neil, where should I go for my honeymoon? I tell them that go to a place where you don't think you'll ever go back again, right? And that's why Heta and I went to Seychelles, because we thought that okay, this is a very offbeat destination. We'll
Sure.
probably never go there. So Ibiza's also like a place where you'll probably visit it once in your life, but if you do visit it once, make sure it is worthwhile. You don't want to like cut corners and not have a great holiday.
So, Neil, what would be the best time to go here, according to you?
Like I said, May and June kind of
Mm.
would be great. July, August tends to become a little crowded. September also would be good. But Ibiza is a place that then kind of shuts down during the winters because the water gets colder,
Yeah.
the nightclubs don't have as many people, and these nightclubs are massive, right? So during the winters, you could probably look at it for wellness and spa retreats. But see, we are not staying in Europe, we are not living there. So if we are to really go and witness the best side of Ibiza, I would say either May or June or September, early September is something that I would recommend.
And this is exactly what I found even in Greece, where, now islands like Santorini and Mykonos tend to stay open longer, but the smaller islands, they all shut down once summer's over. And then I remember talking to Nicoletta from Greece and asked her, do you think I can send someone in April? And she said the only things they will see there are goats. So, you won't see anything else. And that's why go when the time is right. So I think timing is everything. And like you mentioned, July, August too hot for us. So before that, and maybe just after that would be a great time to go there. Neil, that's wonderful. I think, when we started speaking, I had only one equation: Ibiza is a party. That's it. But now we have so many more reasons to go there, like wellness
Yeah,
retreat,
definitely.
food, UNESCO cultural sites, the yacht party, and even for a retreat or for companies looking to create some really special events, a special holiday, special anniversary, or like you mentioned, the perfect honeymoon. I think
Yeah.
Ibiza just packs it all in very nicely. Any final ideas or tips, Neil, before we close today's episode?
I would just say that as Indian travelers, we don't like the heat as much.
Mhm.
So carry sunscreen. Sunscreen lotion is super, super important. And any island that you go to now, if you don't have sunscreen lotion, you have to go and buy it out there. And that will probably be the most expensive thing you buy it in Ibiza, or as we experienced in Seychelles, where we had to pay about 35 euros for just sunscreen lotion. And that's quite pricey sunscreen. So that's my only tip that I would give.
That's really a great tip, Neil. I think it's definitely worth it to carry a few extra tubes of sunscreen when we go to Ibiza. Thank you. This was really good, and I look forward to partying out there as well.
Yeah, one more destination checked.
One more destination check. Do let us know if you have been there, if you have had a different experience, or you would love to go there. We would love to hear your comments. If you like some of the other Spanish islands, if you have been there, do let us know that too. Or just the Mediterranean region is full of so many islands waiting to be discovered. We would love to hear from you. My email is sunila@veenaword.com and Neil's is neil@veenaword.com. We will see you again in another episode, in another destination, discovering and exploring a beautiful place. Until then, goodbye and see you soon.
Bye bye. See you.